And I, oh, my name is Dora Sierra, and I will be talking to you tonight about the Sea of Cortez. I'm very excited to do it. And my co-host is Susan. And so if there's anything that, that I forget, then of course, Susan, I'm sure will cover it. Susan, give me 1 second. Let me just get rid of this. Got it. All right.
It looks fabulous, Dora. And I think I accidentally muted you. I meant to unmute myself. We're just batting 1,000. Dora, you need to unmute yourself, please.
That was easy. You can hear me now? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let's try again. Welcome, everybody. I want to speak with you about the Sea of Cortez. In my heart, I feel like I discovered the Sea of Cortez. So about 17 years ago, I had this 32-foot cruiser, and we loaded up with fuel because it didn't have the range that we needed. And with these big 60-gallon liter tanks on the bow, and we went off to explore the Sea of Cortez. And when I was out there, I could not believe the experience I was having. One night we were watching the sunset, and over 100 gray whales showed up. And I could hear them spouting from miles in the distance. It was surreal. It was the most incredible experience I ever had. And I looked around and I thought, why is nobody out here? So that's when I decided that I was going to take all my earnings that I'd earned through a lifetime of selling real estate and find a boat. And couldn't find a boat for the money I had, so we ended up building it. And the first boat we built was Rocío del Mar. So that's how I ended up out at the Sea of Cortez. The Sea of Cortez is full of treasures, and those of you that had a big experience the Sea of Cortez, I'm sure you agree with me. And those of you that are scheduled to come on one of our trips, it's going to be a trip of a lifetime. And I think that sometimes people don't come to the Sea of Cortez because it's too easy to get to. And I'll talk about that in more detail. But I feel like we say, I'm going on a trip to Raja Ampat, and I'm going to travel for 3 days to get there, and 3 days and 3 nights. And that makes it that much more exotic. But Sea of Cortez is in our backyard. It's easy to get to, and it's incredible. And as Susan put it, is a week at the sea and a lifetime of memories. And that's what we do. We collect memories at the Sea of Cortez. I want to introduce you to our 2 vessels that we have. Rocío del Mar was our first baby, and Quino el Guardián we acquired in 2015. It was a fishing boat, and we brought it over to the Sea of Cortez. We refitted it so that it can be diving. It's more of a research boat. I'll go into that in much more detail throughout our presentation, but these are the 2 vessels that we use to bring you out to have this magical experience. So we have, and I know that some of you were mentioning about the Southern Baja and certain dive sites and stuff. So what I'd like to do to start is I'd like to go over our itinerary with you. So on our itinerary of the Sea of Cortez, we start in the first week of July, and I'm so excited because it's almost the first week of July. We start our midriff island trips. So we would leave from Puerto Peñasco, and Puerto Peñasco is south of Arizona, about 45 minutes south of the border. So we get to Puerto Peñasco, you embark about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We leave shortly thereafter, and we motor all night, and we wake up at Angel Island. And it is pristine. It's gorgeous. I will show you video and pictures, but it's amazing what you wake up to. Just we're the only ones out there, and nobody lives on these islands. It's remote, and it's beautiful, and it's where the desert meets the sea. So from Puerto Peñasco, we leave, we wake up at Angel Island, and we continue. Every day we change islands. Every day it's a new experience. Every dive site we do only once and then move on to the next because we've got so much to cover. Sometimes all of us insist on repeating a dive site, and of course the crew does what we want them to do. And so it is traveling every night from one island. It's island hopping from one night to the next. Some islands are famous for macro. Other islands are very good about schooling fish. We have several islands that have sea lions, sea lions, sea lions. If we see whales or pilot whales, we see sperm whales or sometimes dolphins as far as the eye can see. The crew is ready to bring down a panga into the water and make sure that we can get up close and personal. One of the things that we've done, and I don't know if you guys did, Jean, when you were on your midriff trip, is we had the opportunity to see sperm whales. And so as soon as we saw them, they were cooperating, and we got in the water and we swam with sperm whales. So these are experiences that you have for a lifetime. And that is one of the neatest things about the Sea of Cortez, that the trips are run with this high intense sense of adventure. And so if there's something to see, the crew makes sure that we see it. They will bring down the pangas, they'll take us out. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. One of my favorite evenings in the Sea of Cortez, the first night that we motor out to Angel Island, we do 3 dives on that day. And then in the evening, we all hop in the panga and we load it up with the ice chest with beer and wine. And then we do a sunset cruise, and it'll be the most explosive, amazing sunset that you will ever see. The sky, the desert skies are breathtaking. And then we get to see there's an island called Granitos where there's tons of bachelor sea lions, and they're grumpy. And I guess they're the ones that have been kicked out of the losers. And they go to this island and we go up to it, and then they all come barking and run into the ocean to greet us. Not friendly, but not aggressive either, just grumpy. Then we continue. And if it's the season for the sea lions to have their pups, you get to hear them, crying. They cry like children. It's really amazing. And then you have all the beautiful mothers that come into the water and they swim with us, the females. It's an incredible, that evening is just such an exciting start to the trip. The stars in the Sea of Cortez, when it's a newer moon, the boat will shut off all the lights, and you can lay on this top, or we can go out on a panga and experience the ocean at night without the interference of the sound of the generator. But the sky has so many stars that it feels like the sky is dripping. One of my memorable experiences at the Sea of Cortez was coming up from a night dive and looking up at the stars. Well, the panga came to pick us up, and they were so close, it was like you could just reach out and grab them. Or we'll do sunset dives where the sun is barely setting. So when you go in, the colors in the sea are just remarkable. And then while you're doing your dive, it gets completely dark and you're able to complete it as a night dive. So the Sea of Cortez, the crew has the mindset that they want you guys to have the best experience you've ever had. And it's never the same. I always say that the Sea of Cortez is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. The sea changes from dive site to dive site. You may have a dive with visibility as far as the eye can see. And then on the same island at the next dive, you may have so much nutrients in the water that it feels like you're in a snowstorm. We have things that appear like the mobilas. The mobilas are like a small array, and then they just go right by you. In the distance on one of the islands that we do in the Midriff Islands, which is San Pedro Martir. This last year, I went a couple of times, and both times I saw hammerhead sharks, which is very unusual for the Sea of Cortez, but things are coming back, things are picking up. There's a few islands where you have the black coral forests, and the color of black coral is, we have a video that I'm going to show you, is like fluorescent green, and you can just go through it and you'll see humongous groupers. It is an incredible ocean, prolific. You have schooling fish, vertebrates, nudibranchs, macro is amazing there. there are times where the first time that I discovered mackerel, because when you don't know what you're looking for, you don't see it. And the first time that I discovered the blue-footed, the blue-spotted blennies and the orange throat blennies, it was so exciting. And the selflin, I was so excited. I stopped and laid on the bottom at 60 feet and was watching and was amazed. And then I looked at my computer and I was like, 10 minutes into deco. You got to be real careful with that. You get so mesmerized. And the crew was pretty upset with me because it took me a while to get back up from that dive. We do not allow deco diving. The good thing I'm the owner, or else I think I would have been booted off the boat. But it's amazing what you see. So the Midriff Islands, it's a 8-day trip, 7 nights. What you do is you leave from Puerto Peñasco, you visit all the islands in the midriff, and then you wake up on the 8th day back in Puerto Peñasco. Rocío del Mar goes Saturday to Saturday. Quino el Guardián goes Sunday to Sunday. So in spite of the fact that we have these 2 boats out at the same destination, you're not at the same dive sites at the same time. You're not even at the same island. We skip a day so that you can have your own remote experience. One of the most incredible things about the Midriff Islands is the last day of diving, which is Friday, before we motor out Friday night to wake in Puerto Peñasco on Saturday. We have a day with the whale sharks. And I want to knock on wood. I've got glass top here. Here's some wood. We've never had a trip where we haven't had whale sharks. Sometimes it's 3 or 4, sometimes it's a whale shark per person. So I know that people have said that they have traveled the world. 10, is that what you saw? That have traveled the world, wow, to see whale sharks. And here they are in our backyard. So the Midriff Islands is, again, July through the 3rd week of September. It's 8 days, 7 nights. And Rocío del Mar is Saturday to Saturday. Quino is Sunday to Sunday. It's an easy place to get to, and I'll go over that on our next slide. But my point wants to be that this is a place where you can just go spontaneously. You have a week off. You don't need to, you can just go on Saturday morning and get there Saturday afternoon and then come home or get off the boat on Saturday morning and you're having dinner at your own home on Saturday evening. So it's a very easy place to get to. Our next destination is Explore Baja. This trip is magical. I always say that you come aboard a diver and get off the boat as an explorer. We leave from Puerto Peñasco and we travel for 13 days visiting islands. We get to do some hiking on this trip. We get down in Loreto and see the mission. We do it all, and it's 13 days. We still do the 3 to 4 dives a day. 2 or 3 of those dives during the week are night dives. And it is incredible. And the difference between the northern Sea of Cortez and the southern Sea of Cortez are incredible. It's the biodiversity. I always like to refer to the northern Sea of Cortez like a safari, because it's so remote and you've got the big black coral forest and the schooling fish. And there are things that you see in the north that you don't see in the south. And then the south, I like to think of it more as like you're arriving to Disneyland, very colorful fish. The seas are, you don't have the currents like you do in the north. It's exciting. So Explore Baja is a trip. It's a trip of a lifetime. I know that it is 13 days long, but it's well worth it. And that trip is a lifetime experience. And then our third destination is Southern Safari. I know that, I don't remember who was talking about, Joan, who now lives in La Paz, but Southern Safari is October, the month of October. The reason that we do the Southern Sea of Cortez in October is amazing. It has incredible things to see. That's when the mobilists show up. Sometimes you see bull sharks. Sometimes you see, we had experience in Cerralvo where we saw a couple of mantas. We get to see sharks in Animas. But the Southern Sea of Cortez, Quino el Guardián is the only boat that does that destination. It is also like the the Midriff Islands. It's a 8-day, 7-night trip. And we leave from Cabo and return to Cabo. So there are 4 trips we do, Susan, or 3 that we do that are the Southern Safari. We do that in October, and that's just the Southern Sea of Cortez. Okay, our 4th destination is Socorro Island, and that's from November to May, and that is where you see the gigantic pelagics that travel the world. It is one of the most incredible destinations in the world, and we have people worldwide that come to the Socorro Islands to visit us. Okay, so
Dora, excuse me, may I
yes.
interject? Don't cater to us gringos so much. Those are los islas reviajeros. See?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Exactly. It is del archipiélago de las Islas de Revillagigedo. So that is the actual name of those, of the Socorro Islands. We do make it simpler so that it's not as complicated to say. But once you get on the boat, you are tested. You cannot go into the water until you can say Revillagigedo. So practice now. So as I mentioned, these are our 2 boats, Quino el Guardián and Rocío del Mar. Rocío del Mar we built from the keel up, and Quino el Guardián we acquired in Virginia. And we brought it through the Panama Canal. That's a whole story in itself. And now we do a lot of citizen science trips and some casual, wonderful fun diving. Okay, so we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you some slides on what you see at the Northern Sea of Cortez, the Midriff Islands. And this is the trip that's from July until the 3rd week of September. And we do 4 dives a day. We do 2 night dives, 2 to 3 night dives during the week. And then of course we have the day with the whale sharks. When we do the whale sharks, we only do 2 dives, but that is just such an exciting day. But this is what I call where the desert meets the sea. Okay, getting there is so simple. The easiest way to get there is to fly to Phoenix. We have 2 shuttles that take our clients from the airport to the boat. They have, as you can see the back of this, they have 2 trailers where you can put all your dive gear. So traveling on the vans is very comfortable. It's a 3.5 hour to 4 hour drive, depending on how many potty stops you guys make. And sometimes a group wants to stop and have lunch. Once you cross the border, you have to stop and you go into immigration and they have you fill out a little form. I think there's a fee for it. I'm not quite sure how much. Susan will give us the more details. But once you get to Puerto Peñasco, you hop on the boat. When you get to the border, it's 45 minutes to an hour from the border to Puerto Peñasco. It's a very uneventful drive, safe. It's quiet, and so once you get to the boat, we board, and we get there between 5 and 6. We leave about shortly thereafter. And as you can see at the picture at my left, at the bottom, that is what you wake up to on your first day out at the Sea of Cortez. And please, if anybody has any questions, I think I ran right through the details. If anybody has any questions on how to get there.
What's the housing tax?
The what?
Somebody
put in the chat room. Oh, Susan, do you have an answer to that?
Yes, I do. I think what he's asking about is there has been some instances when people fly into San Jose del Cabo. And when they push the button and it comes up as a red light and they get inspected for their housings, that they can charge a tax on that. That is San Jose del Cabo. That is not on this trip. They do not do that when we cross by land. That's just in San Jose del Cabo. And we can talk about that a little bit more at the end of this if you want to.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So we will. I would like to address that at the end about the housing tax. This year we had no incidents. Last year we did. So we are working with the Department of Tourism, asking them what the heck that is about. When I did talk to immigration about that, apparently it's not listed as one of the sports equipment. You know how they have scuba equipment and golf clubs and all the stuff that you travel with. Housing is not listed on there. And so now we're advocating and getting that added so that they don't have any issues with the housing. Okay. And that was in San Jose del Cabo. And that's flying in. And we will be driving across the border on the Sea of Cortez.
Dora, I see Yvonne Salazar has a hand up.
Yes, Just want to know the best way of moving from Mexico City. We don't need to go to Phoenix. How we can
Okay.
do that?
And you know, that's funny, Yvonne. I'm glad you said that because I had intended on speaking about it. Then I got caught up with the nudie brink. So the best way to get to Puerto Peñasco from Mexico City is you can either fly into Hermosillo, and they have a shuttle that'll get you, if you have a group, they have a shuttle, very reasonably priced, very efficient, or the last time we rented a bus from Albatros, and that seemed to even be the most economical way to get them. So you have an entire bus for a group of 20. It was pretty cool. Another idea would be to fly to Mexicali, but you would have to either rent a car or organize transportation to the airport, because the city of Mexicali is the opposite way from the airport to Puerto Peñasco. A third way could be is to fly into Tijuana. And I know that they do have flights now to Puerto Peñasco, but unfortunately they're not on the weekend. They're during like the latter part of the week.
Okay,
So, okay.
we'll find out the details.
Yes, and please send me a message after this or an email, and I'd be happy to do the research for you and get you phone numbers and websites.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what you see at the Sea of Cortez. One of my very favorite things to look at are the nudie brinks. They're beautiful, they're colorful, and they're plentiful. And some of them, like the Spanish shawl that we're seeing down, the purple with the orange, sometimes you can find Spanish shawls up to 4 inches or more, you know, big. They're pretty exciting.
Dora,
Yes.
excuse me, is there a shuttle from Tucson?
We don't work with the shuttle from Tucson, but I do know that they have a shuttle, not specifically for us, but they have several shuttle companies that have transportation from Tucson to Puerto
Rocky
Peñasco.
Point.
Yeah. Okay. One of the most exciting things that I've seen in as macro goes are the self and blenny. And it's not only that they're absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if the pictures are covering up the screen, but it's the one on the right, and it's the black with all the colors in the fin, in the sail. And once you learn to spot them, then you can see them everywhere. And so it's really important. Our dive guides are incredible at spotting macro. And, you know, we have people that have spent their entire dives, you know, they're not looking at the big stuff anymore. They want to see the macro, and it's in plentiful. I'm just giving you a small preview of what there is, but the list goes on. We had a trip with Reef. They come every year or sometimes every other year, and they always are amazed at new discoveries that they find on macro and on fish. And I think that one year they counted up to 700 species on one dive. It was not one dive, but one trip, 1 week. It was unbelievable. So, you know, it is, Jacques Cousteau said that the Sea of Cortez was the aquarium of the world, and I have to completely agree with him. So this is something that we see often. I'm going to start from the left. Our seahorses are huge. I have seen seahorses up to 8 inches tall. They are amazing, and they're all different colors. We have the giant jawfish, and it's not uncommon to see them with their eggs in their mouth. And they, at first, when we first went, they would be very shy, and now they're curious and they pop up their head and they say hi. So that's exciting. We have several different types of eels, the moray, the golden, the striped. We have tiger, bunch of different types of eels to see. We have plenty of turtles. The most common turtle that we see is the green octopus. There's a time of year, and I want to pinpoint it. I'm going to ask the dive masters, but there's a time of year where the octopus are on fire. They are mating, and so it's not uncommon to see octopus together, to see them fighting for their for their girl to see them all over the place. And it's an incredible, I've had dives with octopus when it is their season. And I wish I remembered what month it was, but it is during our season. And I want to say it's earlier into the season where you can count 20 octopus that are out there. It's exciting. We have many islands that have sea lions, and they're all there ready to play. They are goofy, they're fun, and they love it when we get there. And I think that because of the islands being so remote, I think we're the only people that they see, and they wait anxiously for us to show up in July. And I think they're sad when they know that we're going to leave, you know, in October. So sea lions, if anybody likes to swim with sea lions, the Sea of Cortez is absolutely the place to be. We have the Cortez angels. We have a lot of angels, the keen angels, schooling fish. Sometimes you get surrounded by barracudas, the Cortez barracudas, sometimes the leopard groupers, you're surrounded. San Pedro Martir that has the incredible black coral forest. Sometimes you see these gigantic 300-pound groupers swim by. It's always an event and it's always exciting. Uh-oh. I'm stuck, Susan. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I talked about sea lions. They're very affectionate with each other and with us. If you look up on the top right-hand side, those are the grumpy bachelors I'm telling you about. And that Isla es Coronado. No, it is Granitos, excuse me. The day we have Friday is our whale shark day. And you see all sizes. And they're there. And when you see the water is so full of nutrients. And the exciting thing that on Whale Shark Day, it's not only whale sharks that we see. We also see mobile arrays that are there. We have had the sea lions go in there. The turtles are in there in the bay. We go to Bahia de Los Angeles to spend the day with the whale sharks. And it's inside a bay. It's a protected bay. And we use the local community. And they take us out on their pangas. And it's a privilege to us to support the local communities. So this is an exciting day with the whale sharks. You can never know what you're going to see. Sometimes you see dolphins as far, when we're traveling, as far as the eye can see, jumping mobulas, a jumping humpback. The birds are incredible. We have blue-footed boobies, the brown-footed boobies, the frigates. We have just a lot of different, if anybody is a bird person, they would really enjoy this trip as well. There's always something to do. There's always something to see. That's you, Susan, isn't it? I recognize the PCT.
That is me. That is me.
Yes, so this is a normal, common sea lion day. And they're fun. They're so much fun. They're like naughty kids that are just, swarming all the time, waiting to play. I think my next one is a video, and it's a short video, and it was taken by Alfredo Barroso, and it just gives you an example of the type of mammals that you see at the Sea of Cortez and blennies and other things. Okay, so that was, I hope that it was clear. Susan tells me that when she sees it, it's a little choppy. I'm seeing it pretty clear. So it just shows that all that you saw is not uncommon to see it in one trip. There's just a lot of life in the Sea of Cortez. As I mentioned, when the visibility gets low, you just have to get a little bit closer, and it means that there's a lot of nutrients in the water. There's an island that we visit that is, I think, world-class, San Pedro Martir, and the visibility is predictably amazing there. So you get everything. You get the, the big thick forests of the black coral. You get the greener water that's a little further north, but you can see a lot of vertebrates and a lot of the smaller life. And then you go further to San Pedro Martir and the water gets clearer. And it's just always, I guess if I have to describe the Sea of Cortez, I'm going to describe it as a high energy, busy, exciting trip. So now I'd like to talk to you about our Explore Baja. Our Explore Baja trip starts the third week of September. We do 3 trips, one from Puerto Peñasco down to Cabo. Everybody gets off. It's a one-way trip, flies out of Cabo. The next group flies into Cabo, and then 13 days later gets off in Peñasco. And then we do our final trip that ends in Cabo, and that's when we start our Reviajigedo trips. Reviajigedo. So that's the Explore Baja trip. You get on the boat in Puerto Peñasco for the first round. The water's always warmer on the third week of September, but you're still wearing a 3 mil suit. There's a lot of, in the northern Sea of Cortez, you had a 5, yes. In the northern Sea of Cortez, you get upwells and you get thermoclines. So it is probable, it's always a possibility to have half your body in 79-degree water and your other half of your body in 65-degree water. And you can see that water coming. It's clear and it looks like a mirror and reflective, and bam, you've got colder water. But by the time you make it down to Ile de Alfonso, which is just the mid part of the Sea of Cortez, you are swimming in trunks. The water is very, very warm. And then when you go back again, you always have the warm, at that time of the year in the southern part, you always have the very warm water. To me, I think it's a little uncomfortably warm as on some dives. And then you start to get to the north and then the water gets cooler. So it is not uncommon to start the trip with a 5 mil and end up with shorts at the end of Explore Baja. As I mentioned, there's some incredible hikes that we get to do. There's one beach that we discovered on our women's trip in Bahia de Los Angeles. It is the most beautiful beach. It's like something you would see out of a postcard. And we've included that on our Explore Baja trip, where the crew gets down and makes the dinner and we have dinner on the beach. It's a lot of fun. Also, we get to visit Loreto. We have a lot of excursions, like, it's common to see mobulas, it's common to see whales. And so the pangas get into the water and we're chasing whales, not chasing them because we're just following them politely and respectably. And so that's our Explore Baja. It's exciting. It's 13 days. Again, I'll say, you come aboard a diver and disembark and explore, because it does have that very much exploratory feeling. If we see a dive site that we've never done and everybody agrees that we should give it a try, we do. So that's always exciting. In the Explore Baja trip, along with the Southern Safari trips, we do a night with the mobulas. We go to Ensenada Grande in Espiritu Santo, which is one of the islands, and we put down a big lamp, and then all the mobulas come in to feed. And that's, I think, one of the most incredible things to experience. On our night dives, if you'll see the center, we see different things, crabs, things that are, to me, are still unidentifiable. So that's really exciting. And then of course, in the Explore Baja, we have a lot of opportunities for sea lions. And if you'll look up, that's what we get when we jump in with the mobulas. That's similar to what we get to see. The sunsets in the Baja sky are like no other in this world. And it's, where the desert meets the sea, and those desert skies are incredible. We get also in the southern part, you have the hard coral. And in the northern part, you have the big gorgonias, you have beautiful sea fans. Sunsets are absolutely incredible. And again, I'm going to repeat that stargazing in the Sea of Cortez is a lifetime experience. This video was done by one of our clients, Beth Watson, and it just gives you a top view of the experience of the Sea of Cortez. Thank you, Beth, for such a nice video. Our Southern Safari trip, only Quino El Guardian does Southern Safari. Rocio del Mar is still doing their Explore Baja. And the Southern Safari starts in Cabo, and we go and we do some diving in Cabo San Lucas, and doing it off a liveaboard is very easy. And they have, surprisingly, that cove there is a lot of fun, and it's right at, at Land's End, and we're able to do just a couple of dives there. We move on and we do start doing Cerralvo. We go to Los Islotes. We spend a couple of days there. El Bajo is famous. That's a famous dive site for being able to spot hammerhead sharks. We go all as far north as Animas, and then we start to head back. So that is an 8-day trip, and that's just in the southern part of the Sea of Cortez. And that area at that time of year is famous. So Los Islotes, the sea lions, are so comfortable with people that sometimes you think that they are in love with you, and that maybe you have a boyfriend now. So lots of fun, Los Islotes. And that, of course, is the night that we do the mobulas, the night of the mobulas, and that trip. And that's that one in the southern and the Explore Baja are the only two destinations where we get to do the mobulas at night. And that's an incredible evening. Okay, so I have 2 boats. Rocio del Mar is our first, and we built Rocio del Mar from the keel up specifically for diving. Each cabin sleeps 2. Each cabin has a window, its own air conditioning, ceiling fan, its own bathroom, in suite bathroom. There's a lot of places where you can be, and on Rocio del Mar, it's a big boat for 20 divers. You can have got its own salon. The galley is large. You have the huge sun deck. There's an area in front of the bow where you can bring some chairs and relax. So there's just it's very spacious, it's very comfortable, and it's elegant. All our meals are served plated, and our chefs are unbelievable. I know, I think it was Susan that said that she was trying to get the weight off that she gained on the Rocio del Mar at the Revillagigedo Islands. You get fed very well. Our next boat is Quino el Guardian, and Quino el Guardian was a fishing vessel. It used to be a scallop boat in the East Coast, and we brought it down. And when we first started this business, it was 2008 and the economy was rough, but we were saved because it seemed like Mexico gave all the scientists in Mexico money for research. And so we did a lot of research trips when we first started Rocio del Mar. Then we got busy with tourism, but scientists were the type of, entity where if they got money in April, they needed to go in May and spend it. And you know how liveaboards, they book, years ahead of time. But when Quino el Guardian, we acquired Quino el Guardian, I thought this would be a great boat for science. And so I called all my scientist friends and we booked trips for them to do their research and their monitoring. But then we had many trips available, and we decided on Quino el Guardian to start doing citizen science trips. And so on Quino el Guardian, it's a very casual boat. If you look on the left bottom, there's 4 people to a cabin. Everybody has a privacy curtain, but it is 4 people in a cabin nonetheless. We have the bathrooms on the dive deck, and each cabin gets assigned their own bathroom. We are gender specific on both bathrooms and cabins. We always save 2 cabins for couples. It's very casual. It's a very happy atmosphere. It's a very scientific research type of atmosphere. Or sometimes we charter this boat to families, and it's always a very jovial boat. And this is Quino's the boat I like to go on because I get to meet people, and it's not like Rocio del Mar where you can lose yourself and just go take a nap everywhere. There's the Quino el Guardian. If you go to the rooms, it's only to sleep. It's casual, it's fun, it's exciting. It's the boat that we have our women's trip on, and we have the crew rotating. So both boats have the most unbelievable crew, and the food is amazing. I got to say that with pride. The food is very, very good.
Dora, let them know, tell everybody about their names.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the boats. Up, Rocio del Mar. My daughter's name is Rocio. So Rocio del Mar is named after my daughter. And Quino el Guardian, Quino is my grandson. So Quino he's the guardian of the sea. And it's funny because sometimes I'm talking on the phone and he's there, and he's 9 years old now. But I'll talk about, where we need to with Quino this and Quino that. And he'll stop me and says, Apita, because that's what my grandchildren call me. He'll say, Apita, are you talking about Quino me or Quino my boat? so I need to be clear about who I'm talking about when Quino is around. Quino, the grandson. Okay, back to food. Thank you, Susan. Our chefs are 5-star, and we do not cut any corners. And in addition to, I see somebody's hand is raised. Yes.
I was just wondering what research you were doing, Dora, anytime you can talk about it.
About what?
The sort of research you were actually doing. You said you carried out research for Mexico.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, yes. We have a lot to say. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to talk about the food, and then my next page, I think it is about the special trips that we have. So our chefs are amazing. The food that we serve is very well thought out. When I first started diving, I went on a California liveaboard, and there were like 40 of us. And I remember that I couldn't get to the kitchen fast enough for meals, and I always ended up hungry. And so I said, by God, we will never be hungry again. And so now food is very important to me. It's a very important part. I can't guarantee the conditions. I can't guarantee what you're going to see, but I can guarantee that you're going to have a fabulous meal every time you sit down at the dining room table. This is our crew. Our crew is incredible. Those of you that have dove with us know that when you get on the boat, you become family, and you will always be family. And the crew always looks at the roster to see who's coming back, because I've been very fortunate that we do have a very, very large percentage of our clients that are repeat, and the crew watches the roster and they get very excited and they say, oh, you know, so-and-so's coming back. And so it's really neat to see the connection that our crew have made with our guests. And they are there and they want to make you happy. Safety first and fun second. So, okay, and this is the question, Trevor, that you had asked me. What type of research? Quino El Guardian has a big community of scientists that travel with us. And we have research on sharks. If you look at the top left, they do tagging on sharks, and they physically take the sharks out of the water, and it's surgical tagging. And we've got, they're experienced, they know what they're doing. All the passengers participate. Someone is making sure that the shark remains hydrated. Somebody is checking the time. We cannot leave the shark out of the water. It has to be a very specific time. You know, if somebody's helping hold, somebody's taking data. So it's a really, our citizen science trips, I think, is the next level. And of diving, you know, first you get to see, and when you know the habits of certain sea life, and then you see them underwater, it makes it that much more enriching. So we have sharks, we have sea lions. We just had Denis Ramirez that did an incredible trip with mantas. I think you were on that research trip, Susan. So we have vertebrates, we have even the gorgonias. We have a science that specializes in that. I can't think of others right now, Susan, but I know that we do have an extensive repertoire of different types of science trips that we have. And on
I wanted to just add, because this summer we have one with Edgardo Ochoa, August 7th. And in fact, Laura, I think, who's on tonight, is going on that trip. So he is going to be on regarding conservation, a big picture conservation, but then how to bring it home. But he's been diving the Sea of Cortez for years and years.
Yes, thank you, Susan, for remembering. So Edgardo's trip is August
7th through 14th.
Yes, and we still have space on that one if anybody's interested in that trip. It's also, you know, a science-based. We have our Wonder Woman trip. That is, I think, a lifetime trip. Yay, I know. It's so much fun. So we have our Wonder Woman trip that we do once a year. We have professional photographers that come on board and give workshops. And also we have naturalists that come and give, you know, talks, and we have a fish ID trip that we do. We also have a trip with families only if anybody wants to bring their kids. The incredible thing about the Sea of Cortez, that if you are not a diver, you are still going to have an incredible time. All the islands are snorkel sites. We have permits to, you know, check out the islands. Sometimes you find nests, sometimes you find incredible things when you're scoping the islands. We have kayaks on board. So even if you're not a diver, the Sea of Cortez is an incredible time to have. So sometimes you have couples where one is a diver and one is not. Bring them along. They will still have an incredible time. I'm going to briefly just talk about Socorro because that is one of our destinations. Socorro Islands is a world-known destination. It's a heritage site. It is now a park. Before it was very limited. I think it was 12 miles out of each island that was protected. And now it's 78,000 nautical miles that's protected. So the park has grown immensely. It is a big protected park. I personally can tell the difference now with the amount of sharks that we see, that this park being, with this becoming a park, that it is much more protected. You can see 7 different types of sharks, sometimes all on the same dive. And from February to the mid-April, we have the humpback season where the humpbacks come in. You always have the gigantic 22 wingspan mantas. We see false orcas, dolphins that are in your face. That's one of the neatest things about the Socorro Islands, that the mantas, they hover over you so they can feel their, you know, their your bubbles on their belly. The dolphins, they feel insulted if you don't, get close up and personal. We cannot touch them. They really want us to. But Socorro Island is a dream. When the first time I rolled back and went into Socorro, I thought I was in a cartoon. It is so surreal, very, very exciting. So I am going to briefly talk at this point. So that's our destinations. That is the Sea of Cortez. I want to briefly talk to you about a program that I have. I'm wearing the t-shirt. It's Heroes del Mar, Héroes del Mar. I'm very, very proud of this program. I'm amazed. I have the expectations for this program have exceeded anything I thought could be possible. It's a 3-year program for kids from the remote islands or villages, the fishing villages. And my idea was to bring these kids and show them that there's another way of life. If they, and plus, if they do want to become fishermen like their fathers, that they need to be fishermen with good fishing practices. So it is very much based on conservation and progress. It is incredible to see these kids. It's a 3-year program, but we had to make it a 4-year program because COVID didn't let us go out last year. So we're doing our final trip July 7th, and I'm going to play the video quickly for you just so you get an idea what the program is about. And if there's some way that you would like to get involved, I am inviting you to get involved, because the difference that we make in these children's lives is like no other. Can you guys hear it?
Dora, I don't hear the sound. I could hear the music before, but no talking.
I did something. Can you guys hear it? No? I touched something.
You must have muted something.
There we go. Okay, better? The program Héroes del Mar is about kids, teaching them how to take advantage of their resources. We want to see the kids take ownership of what's theirs. But in order for them to do this, they need to have the tools. And that's what we're here for. We're here to teach them, to educate them so that they can be the best that they can be, to empower them. That's our mission. The villages that we chose are in very remote areas. A lot of these kids never have been away from home. They've never been out of these villages. We need to expose them to what's out there so that they can appreciate what they have. The areas they live in are incredible. The islands that they have, what's in their front yard. And unfortunately, sometimes they don't see it, they don't recognize it. And you have people that come from other places and they see all the opportunities and they buy the property from the fishermen at a very low price, and they are able to exploit them and develop them. We want to equip these children so that they can make good decisions. We take the kids out to sea for 8 days and we immerse them. It's an intense program. We've gone hiking, they've kayaked, they've snorkeled. We've been able to go to mangroves. We've been able to do some bird watching. We've brought a scientist on board who is able to work with them. They relate to this person and they're able to identify. So these kids who have never in their life thought of being scientists work side by side with a scientist and think, this is something that I can do. We also brought aboard an economist, and he has brought to them the possibilities of being an entrepreneur. They've sat down and they've done flyers and they've done presentations where they've taken ownership of the places that they're from as though they are developing a business in their home. Also, we've talked to them about tourism.
We've talked about sustainability and fishing reserves. So if they're going to be fishermen, that they be fishermen with good fishing practices. The experience has to be intense. There's no other way to show them all the possibilities of the Sea of Cortez if we don't immerse them in this life-altering experience. And they need to have this experience so that they can turn the chip, which was one of the primary reasons that we decided that it needed to be done on the liveaboard.
Ahí como trabajamos en el barco, cada quien emprendió lo que le gustaría hacer. Y a mí me gustaría construir un restaurante donde puedan llegar muchos turistas, porque hoy me quedé emocionado y con esas ganas de llegar a vivir y contar lo que hicimos, lo que viví realmente estos 7 días. Me di cuenta que el programa Héroes del Mar te está abriendo las puertas a ti para tu futuro.
Te hace despertar de la importancia de todo lo que hay a nuestro alrededor, de todo lo que tenemos.
No solo están enseñando a jóvenes, sino que están enseñando a próximos empresarios o dive master o geólogos, conocimientos que nunca en una escuela te van a enseñar si no lo vives.
A mí este viaje me ayudó a ver todo lo bonito que había en mi comunidad. También la verdad yo lo había visto, pero no lo había visto de esta forma como ahora lo ve.
They've been so busy, and I feel that each and every one of them is eager to return in the next 2 years. This is a 3-year program with the intentions of having them be in a mentorship program by the 3rd year, where they can help the next generations to follow. For conservation to be successful in Mexico, it's imperative for the communities to be involved. The community has to benefit. We want to help the kids by giving them tools and guidance so they can develop these communities. Because at the end of the day, if they can live from their natural resources, they become the guardians.
So that is my program of Héroes del Mar. I do feel that if the communities get involved, then we have a lot more opportunity to save our seas. It starts with them. And so thank you so much for listening. I am eager and happy to answer any questions about the Midriff Islands, Explore Baja, Southern Safari, Socorro Islands, or Héroes del Mar. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Thank you.
Wow, Dora, your program is awesome, and what you're doing is awesome. And I see that there are 17 comments and questions in the chat room. So maybe we should address those at this time.
Okay, I will. Let me get out of this.
I did that for you.
Okay, so I just closed it. Okay, there's everybody. Yay. Hi, this is great. Thank you for such an incredible turnout. Yay. Okay, Susan, would you like to address our chat questions? Where did Susan go?
Nope,
Can I
I'm
just-
right here.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to see, there's just people going back and forth, asked about the research. So what I'd like to do is say, hey, if somebody's got a question, you can put it in the chat, or better yet, let's hear your awesome voice. Just unmute yourself.
I'm reading some of these. It's hilarious. Lisa.
Can I just say to Dora that I think that children's program's fantastic. Great respect for you for that. That's wonderful, the way you're educating the children.
Thank you. Well, now that we just quickly, I'd like to mention, I really appreciate that comment. I need, if anybody has a program that they donate funds to, if you could donate funds to this program, oh my God, that would be incredible. I am lacking 4 regulators for our trip in July 7th. If anybody has a regulator that's in good shape that would want to donate it to the program, that would be amazing. Anything that you guys can think of, hooray. Hi, Kelly. Okay, Lisa, you had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted some clarity on what the temperature of the water is going to be like in the Midriff Islands in early July.
I would take I'm going to say that we were just at Tiburon Island, and it changes. So instead of me stuttering, I'm going to tell you to take a 5 mil wetsuit. So I'm going to say,
remember that I live in Arizona, so I'm acclimated to high temperatures. That's why I'm asking, because I just came back from Hawaii where it was 78 and I was cold in a 5 mil wetsuit.
So I'm gonna guesstimate that the water is going to be between 75 and 80.
Okay, thank you.
I would take a 7 if you were cold in Hawaii in a 5. Yes.
Or you take your 5 in a hooded vest. And also just a reminder that in the Sea of Cortez, you can wear gloves as well.
And it helps to definitely wear a hood.
Yes, always wear a hood. And that was a funny comment, Lisa, about the dolphin that pooped in front of you.
Oh my God, at first I didn't know what it was. Then I realized and I was laughing through my regulator. It was hysterical.
That is so funny. And then I don't remember, I saw the comment about somebody saying that they vouched what I said about the food. So thank you. Yes, I think that our chefs are unbelievable. So if you guys are going, I would like to invite everyone who doesn't have plans this summer. The Sea of Cortez is easy to get to. It's very affordable and it's an incredible experience. So I would love to invite you to come. And I'm ready to answer any other questions.
Bruce is asking, he's going driving from Tucson. There is parking right next to the marina for $5 a day.
And it has 24-hour security.
Right, so that's easy. And then we have somebody who's asking regarding water temperatures. What is the best time for the mid-drift islands trips? So that would be August, right, Dora?
It's always a wonderful time to go, but if it's warm water that you're looking for, it's predictable that August is the best time to go. I remember in the ladies' trip, I remember that my 3 mil was a little warm on some dives, and that was the 3rd week of August. So
some of the ladies even ended up diving in shorts and a rash guard.
Yeah,
not this big wuss, but so Pamela, you could come with us on the ladies' trip. We still have space.
Well, I'll consider that.
Susan.
Yes, Susan?
Can you put me down for the ladies' trip, please?
I will do that. I'll send you an email.
Ah!
Okay, Susan.
Going once, going twice, sold.
5 spaces left.
Yes.
What are the dates on it?
Let me.
What are the dates, Susan?
August 21 through 28. And actually, and Susan, you're up there in Oregon and you know Sheridan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think she mentioned something about, I'd be happy to book you direct, but I know you're also friends with Susan, who works with Diana Hollingshead of Eugene Skin Divers. And
just book me directly. It's fine.
Okay, you got it, Susan. I will send you that out.
Okay, great.
Which boat is that?
Kino. And you know what's so funny is we usually take 16 people, but on the ladies' trip we actually have 18 bunks. And the only time it feels a little crowded is when we're loading in, because everybody gets on board the boat excited, but that doesn't even last that long. But then it's just when we're packing up to get off the boat. Other than that, it never feels crowded, and there's always fun conversations going on the sun deck, and meal times, there's plenty of room for everybody. And the way the tables are set up in Kino is so cool because there's just 2 tables. So when you come in, you just sit wherever there's a spot, and you get to meet and know everyone. By day 2, everybody's a best friend. Yes. And that's on actually any trip on Kino, not just the ladies' trip. But
yes, Lisa.
Yes, Lisa.
How else can we help with your Eros Del Mar? You said you need a regulator, but can we actually participate in some of the trips with the kids?
The space is limited because I've got 14 kids, and then I take, of course, the biologist, but please let me know how you feel that you could contribute.
Okay.
And then we can absolutely, I mean, we're always looking for help. And I love to expose the kids to anything that's not ordinary to what they're doing. So this year for the kids, we have a professor from Mexico City University, UNAM, and she will be teaching them lessons, for example, like public speaking, how to work as a team, you know, a lot to do with their self-esteem, a lot to do with tools of life, how to budget. You know, I know that, you know, I see my people, my family is from a small town in Durango, and we don't budget. I mean, we live life for the moment. And if it's, you know, their agriculture, and if they have a good year, then we eat well and we party hardy and not worry. And so I really want to teach these kids on how to save, how to budget, and it's been working. You know, you just have to give them the consciousness of things. So absolutely, Lisa, let's talk. And if there's something that you feel that you can apport to this, I would love to hear it. So,
Dora, that was going to be my question. Is you said it was a 3-year program, but how exactly is that program changing every year? Or is it the same instructors every year, just reinforcing the stuff? Or
it's always, this is my first generation. And when we first brought them aboard, we brought a scientist that was a specialist in geology. And you know, my eyes were glazing a little bit. They were so into it. It was so wonderful. And then we brought an economist on board, and he talked to them about numbers and budgets. And it wasn't more like what we're having this time with the UNAM. Then I thought, we went snorkeling, we went hiking, we did all that. And then I thought, well, we're on a dive boat, and what a wonderful gift to give these children. So I brought them back in December, and we certified them open water. All the kids got open water certified. Dan and Patty were a big help with that. And then we did the second year, we couldn't because of COVID. So then last year we did the second year, and they were all older because my program is ages 13 to 17 in hopes that they graduate my program when they graduate to high school. But I am so proud to say that 6 of the kids that graduated, because of COVID, we didn't do the second year. They are all now in university. And we have helped them, you know, we're guiding them towards housing and such, but they are all coming to our trip July 7th. And their parents were telling me this last, because I go to the communities to meet with the parents. They said, I can't believe that this is my child's life. I mean, just a little bit, just add a little bit of water and it grows. And so, you know, we've been sponsored by a hotel in Cabo San Lucas where they have taught them about hotel management. We worked with turtles. We were able to do bird guiding. So every year is different, and every year adds something. And that's why I mentioned to Lisa, if you guys have something in mind, something that's creative, something that can help change these kids' lives, I am very excited to hear about it. So we're going to start recruiting for our next generation starting October. So.
Dora, Laura's asking about the season for Southern Safari. I know this year it is just in October. Next year, we've got 2 scheduled in September and then 2 in October. Could you talk to a little bit more about that, please?
Okay, the Southern Safari is a very popular trip because it is in the south part. And if you like real warm water, that's where you want to be during those months. And so on the Southern Safari, we get to do the Southern Islands, and one of the most exciting things at that time of year, we have the mobile arrays. And there are times where we go out and we search for them, and you see them in congregations of thousands. It is incredible. And they fly, they jump in the air. And I'm not sure if it's because of mating. I don't know if they have parasites they're trying to, I don't know what their motivation to jump is, but it is exciting to see. And then we can get in the water with them as well. This last season in 2021, we were able to see sperm whales during our Southern Safari trips. And we were able to see hammerheads in Las Animas. So Southern Safari is a specific time of the year, and the water is very warm. So there's a lot of exciting things to see in the Sea of Cortez.
I've seen the mobilas and it's absolutely incredible. And no, they don't know why they're doing it. And it's amazing. But I would like to do the Southern Safari as my next trip. But I was kind of hoping, does it go into November at all? Or just September and October for that?
Yeah, just September and October. And the reason being is that we've got Socorro Island starting in November, and that is the hottest month of the season in November. And not because it's better than the rest, it just is because everybody wants to go in the beginning of the season. And so that, makes the boats unavailable for Southern Safari.
Got it. Do you do Cabo Pulmo on that Southern Safari?
We used to do Cabo Pulmo, and it has gotten very, very difficult to do. What they want us to do is to get all the passengers on the pangas and take them to the station, and then they give us our dive site there, which means an additional 2 hours on the panga. It's unreasonable. And it's, the last time we did it, it was pretty miserable. And so I suggest that if you want to do Cabo Pulmo, you do it by land. And then we just spend more time in Los Islotes, and we do the dive wrecks, and we spend more time. There's a place that very few people dive. It's called San Francisquito, and it's north of Los Islotes. And there's a couple of sea mounds there that are explosive with the hard coral and with the bigger life. It's pretty awesome. So we have not done Cabo Pulmo. We're not opposed to doing it. We just have to make sure that they make it more accommodating for our passengers.
Interesting. Okay. I have one last quick question, if I could sneak that in. We're planning to drive down to Rocky Point. If we get our tourist card visas online, do we still have to stop and look for that border house? I don't know where it's at in Rocky Point.
The shuttle drivers take you there, but if you already have bought it online, you don't need to get down and get that taken care of.
Okay, we're driving ourselves, that's why.
Okay, great. Make sure you print it on your computer and do exactly what they say, because sometimes, it gets a little iffy at the whether it's legitimate or not.
Yeah, I just didn't know if they need to see our passport, because that's what we do for San Carlos. We'll still get the tourist card visa and stop at the border house in Nogales.
Yes. Okay.
But I didn't know if we need to do that for this trip or not.
You do not, if you have it, you don't need to stop if you're just driving through.
Okay.
The card will be necessary on the exit, not on the entrance.
Okay.
I thought you had to stop and get your visa stamped and also get the card itself stamped.
You know what, Pamela, I just have this storm. You're right. I'm thinking of two different things. I'm thinking of you do need to stop. You need to either have it online or you need to get it to get in, because we're going out to sea. There's a limit of how far you can go to Mexico without it. So if you were just going to go to Rocky Point, you don't need the card. But since we're going as far south and out to sea, then you do need to get the card to get in. So either you do it online or you do it in person. But yes, you're right.
But do they need to see the passport? I guess that's.
They do need the passport, yes.
At the border house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you do, Laura, as soon as you cross the border, it's a chain link fence. As soon as you cross the border, just look to your right and you will see it like a glass door. You really can't miss it. It's a small little border crossing. You'll be fine. And
I passed it for 20 years. So I'm like, am I gonna find this place for 20 years?
So what I would do is just as soon as you cross the border, look, and you should be able to park right there. I think you can park right there because I've driven across the border myself. And if you have any questions, one of the border guys will help you. They'll point you in the right direction.
Isn't it the building just right next to the casetas, to where they check your passport?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's right there.
Okay, we'll figure it out. But as long as we know we have to do it, then all right, we'll figure it out. So
yes,
thank you. You take up a lot of time there. Thank you. We're excited. We're looking forward to coming. That's the Citizen Science with Edgardo Ochoa, and we are so excited. We can't wait.
He's wonderful. He is wonderful.
It'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Thank you so much for giving us so much of your time. I know that usually these are an hour, and we're getting to an hour and a half, and I know in some places it's late. So thank you again. And we are always available if you want to send us a quick note or an email. Yes, Trevor.
The dawn chorus is outside my window. I can see the sun coming up.
Good morning to you, Trevor.
It is. It's 3:30 in the morning.
Wow. Yes.
But I hope
it's
just
been
to let you all
wonderful.
know, if you ever have any questions anytime, my email address or the info at Mexico Liveaboards, I'm constantly checking it, making and talking to everybody and answering their questions. That's what I love to do. So, and this is who you get. It's not somebody sitting somewhere, you know, that you don't know. So I'm there. Valerie does all the guest services, helps you with your documents. Carmina is happy to send you an invoice. So it's a big family. You know, we're here, and this is what we do and what we love to do. So.
My cell phone is on the website. Feel free to give me a call if you have any questions or just want to chat. Any ideas about my Héroes del Mar, any extra regulators you guys aren't using? I need 4. And so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Dora,
Yes.
could you also put to use BCDs?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I had a gentleman in Puerto Peñasco donate quite a few. So I'm all set with BCDs. Also Kids Sea Camp gave me wetsuits. It's just those regulators that I'm having a hard time with, you know, getting. So.
Okay, I'll check my inventory. I think I can send you a couple.
That would be amazing. Thank you. Thank you. So if nobody has any more questions, yes, Dave. Hi.
You're muted, Dave.
There you go.
Dave, press your space.
Now you can hear me.
Hi, Dave.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. To say it was a great presentation.
Thank you. I'd love to hear that. I get real nervous with these presentations. Even though it's,
Making a trip down that way. I'm just up here in Oregon, so it's fair geographically. It's not too bad.
yeah,
Other Oregon.
yep, easy to get to. Lots of Oregon on online. Yeah, so easy to get to. I went to the Maldives and it was exciting. I don't know how people travel that distance. I was beat. By the time I got there, it took me days to recover. I mean, I had 2 days that I was just slow and sluggish and very uncomfortable. So, you know,
Same thing for me when I went to the Philippines to visit my friend. It was like it took forever to get there.
it took forever. I just couldn't believe it. And I forgot compression socks, which if anybody travels that distance, get compression socks. So, but Sea of Cortez is so easy to get to.
Everybody have a good evening. I'm going to duck out now.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Kelly, it's wonderful to see you.
Hi, Dora.
How are you?
Do you see behind me? This picture was my second trip with you.
Yes, Kelly's been on the boat a lot. Let's see. Is that the sperm whale?
Yeah.
That was
when we were snorkeling with sperm whales.
Yes.
And yeah, it's my favorite picture.
That's wonderful. That was,
You grabbed the camera out of my hand and said, give me that camera, because you didn't want to lose what was on the SD card, because I got right next to the male sperm whale.
I was excited. That was an exciting event. That was very exciting.
Yeah.
It clicked on me, what Kelly was saying.
Yeah, it was like being hit in the chest with the echolocation. Yeah, it was really great.
I remember that, Kelly. That was a while back, but I'll never forget.
Long time ago, huh?
Yes. So, well, I hope to see everybody soon on the Sea of Cortez. I know it's late and it's hard to say goodbye, but thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. And if just pop any questions you have, just send us an email or give us a call.
Thank you, Dora.
Thank you, Dora.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait to see you
Hi, Dora.
again.
Bye, Susan. Hi,
Good
Susan.
night, everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
See you in a little bit, Karen.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Okay, I can stop recording now. Oh, it's just us. Where's my recording? Didn't stop.